Sazi here, coming at you from Truth or Consequences with CommonGround. Thanks so much for being here. Okie dokie, artichoke, here is my latest thing. My silence wasn't idleness, I was just healing from rejection's sting. Who are those rejecting me? I am so glad that you asked. We can start with all of those who absolutely refuse to wear a mask. Triggering childhood trauma showed me what still needed healing. Until I addressed it, I knew I would only be able to focus on what I was feeling. It is so true that from our deepest pain comes our greatest gifts. But more on that later. Let's not get sidetracked already by these manufactured tiffs. CommonGround is a place to fight for democracy with the power of connection, exposing widespread indoctrination, using fear, hate, and rejection, coming back to center and one reality based on verifiable facts as proof, fighting false realities that manipulate and control by calling lies the truth. When I depend upon the collective for my safety and to function, I don't have a side or desire to be right. I welcome any question. Why am I here? Needing to speak out? Well, that's the hardest part. All about me and my history? I don't even know where to start. Should I begin with my other accounts being shut down because they didn't agree with the misleading lies that are creating a false reality? Or do I begin when I was forced to wake up when faced with my lowest low? When loss from sickness completely destroyed the illusion of my control. Awakening to the truth was so very hard for me because I was raised to fall for the cult of toxic positivity. I knew the secret to be in control of everything and more. My false reality was at my command, making my ego feel oh so superior. When pain and atrophy made my body kept deteriorating, becoming diminished, I was forced to face actual reality when I couldn't command ALS away and I was almost finished. Searching for a diagnosis for this disease I have, even though it doesn't have me, showed me how to find the source for the disease, targeting our democracy. ALS and repeating fascist history makes me want to use my time as wisely as I can. I'm haunted by those overtaken by this cruel disease, no matter how fast they ran. I often wonder why I am so lucky. My heart goes out to those gone way too soon. I want to make my precious time matter by helping prevent impending doom. My home, body, and autonomy are under assault in this information war right now. I want to reach the people who are attacking without understanding why or even how. The disabled are the largest minority and the only one that anyone can become a part of instantly. Disability made me invisible, dismissed, despised, rejected, the subject of bigotry. You have to be part of a minority to understand this damage fully. I know from the other side how hard it is to recognize when you're the bully. I am continuously amazed by the power I access since becoming disabled. It turns out the ultimate power is not found in perfection, as it is so fabled. I genuinely want my experiences to help save our freedom, species, and home. I don't want you to have to suffer to realize we are one and you were never alone. I hit rock bottom by refusing medicine. My body became so weak, it was done. I finally accepted that I'm not in control, grateful for all help from anywhere and anyone. If I can do it, then you can too. That is why you're here. If you've made it this far, then you can help kick fascism's rear. I grew up agreeing with Republicans back when they were genuinely about church and state separation. I believed they conserved our money and what it meant to be an American. It became clear that the right was only interested in conserving their power, wealth, and the war machine, even before President Clinton was the only one who put the deficit in the green. These realizations didn't make me forget the corruption and excess happening on the left. It was obvious that power on both sides was mostly being used to line pockets, distract, blame, mislead, and deflect. When I traveled the world as an uneducated rural American, even living in Manhattan, I quickly realized that America was like an immature teenager, knowing it all with a passion. This immaturity makes it hard to own up to even obvious mistakes that everyone can see. Instead, pointing fingers while exclaiming, "What about? Let's focus on my needs and me." I became an independent and mastered manifestation at about the same time, believing that spending energy on corruption would just help create more crime. So I focused on the positive to create world peace, visualizing what I wanted as part of the negativity police. Fortunately, I was a natural at making sense of chaos. Eventually, I realized that this is just the transformational process. I specialized in helping businesses, relationships, and bodies that were hanging on a wing and a prayer. The greatest successes always happened when things seemed beyond repair. I can clearly see that we are in the middle of this exciting but hard maturing process. Trust me, we can make this incredible mess set us up for incredible success. Hours I spent massaging people from all walks of life has given me valuable insight into the minds, hearts, and even spirits of those we are being told to fight. This is how I know that about most things, both sides actually agree. It is not just the fringes that are closest than ever, yearning to be free. Once you wake up, it is so clear. False realities are meant to divide and keep us apart. We have been doing what our enemies wanted from the very start. The toxic patriarchy's powerful are narcissistic abusers and masters of disguise. They will act just like you, making you trust them while they tell you lies. I know this because when I was questioning, they were there patiently waiting. I was convinced that I was special as I turned into what I was hating. Why are we told not to talk about politics, money, religion, any negativity? Who benefits if we are blind to injustice, corruption, and crime from toxic prosperity and positivity? It all makes so much sense now. Yes, every single thing. When I finally woke up to the truth, an awakening. It's manipulative and misleading to claim something is science and a law when questioning is negative, so forbidden, and life proving it wrong is your failure, not its flaw. What a coinkydink that fascism succeeds by destroying both the rule of law and science, and cults create a false reality to divide and control with shunning and demanding complete compliance. Clinging to my false reality seriously almost took me out. I want to make it easier for others to understand what it's all about. In this toxic patriarchy, everything is a competition. Insults are the way to tease. The only things it is okay for girls to say are yes, sorry, and please. This all makes criticizing others one of the hardest things for me, especially when a manager's flattery sets her apart in luxury hospitality. I have never spoken up against a political candidate or a party. I trusted people to discern the truth, voting for their best interests in a democracy. I am speaking out now because confirmation bias is making both sides just go along with the rest. I trust that we all want to know the truth instead of feeling smarter, superior, the best. I know I would not want to feel smartest while looking like a complete and total fool. Someone tricked into being a useful idiot is fighting for our enemies, used as a tool. Research doesn't start with the belief that you find evidence to support. There are not versions of the truth that you swear to tell in court. I understand how it feels to be completely lost, not knowing which way to go. I want to be the help that I wish I had to show me how to step into the flow. Empathy fills me with understanding, making it easy to not stay quiet anymore. So when you're faced with repeated history, you can do what you wish had been done before. It is easy to resist the trap of whataboutism and always pointing fingers. You can see through the desperate deflection with history that lingers. As a sick person, I lost my business to a forced isolation that's lasted 2 years straight. Grieving this loss created the way to fight this fascist attack in yet another twist of fate. It was tragic to come back from illness, rebuilding my business once again, only to lose it unnecessarily to the ego death throes and incompetence of a few men. It was heartbreaking to have community that supported me through my darkest days, manipulated by what should have been obvious lies and power plays. There's no way I can stay quiet when this same community has the most appropriate name. Truth or Consequences has a history that is also much the same. A land that's richer in treasures would have been hard for colonizers to find. Like the ruling class now, these conquerors were also greedy and short-sighted, not fair or kind. This oasis in the desert with healing hot spring waters that are mineral rich were fiercely guarded by the Apache, who could defend this land without a hitch. The Apache only lost because some of them helped those colonizing. Just like us now, they would have won by coming together in a unified uprising. These natives fought the intruders fiercely, but they were split into different tribes. Like us too, they fought each other instead of coming together completely unified. The Apache would soak together in hot spring water, laying down their weapons to heal. It's not like we don't know how to be civil or kind, understanding how each other feels. Imagine how different things would be now. If the natives had unified back then, what would we be reverse intensifying to move past in a karmic lesson? Pandemics are a repeating lesson from Mother Nature and the Earth. Viruses show our interconnection. If one of us is hurting, we all will hurt. We can learn from history and take care of each other as ourselves, or wait for the variation that forces us to step up and help. I learned this lesson intimately when dormant pathogens inside me are reactivating. A daily fight for my life makes our future with COVID have a terrifyingly familiar ring. The more I learn, the less I know. I am not trying to teach. I'm just doing the best I can to practice what I preach. I can see how fate and karma has made my life run on fast forward. Being a step ahead can be lonely, always showing where to go toward. I'm choosing to fight for truth and justice instead of adventuring on my bike because I want my son and daughter to have a home and individual rights. It's also because to democracy, I can definitely relate. Those wanting to protect me are also attacking me with hate. My family is indoctrinated, tricked to think I'm the one under a spell and to blame, because I spoke up when they believed that fascism and democracy are one and the same. I discovered Q regurgitating Nazi fairy tales that claim Putin and his puppet POTUS are the only two without blame. Those who want to save democracy by supporting attacks on America's capital and Ukraine are just proving they are victims of the right openly joining a Russian disinformation campaign. American oligarchs who crave Putin's control own clowns like Ted Cruz and Tucker, using them to make loyal rural Americans give up their rights so they look like a sucker. Tricked to yearn for a country that only allows the worship of Orthodox Christianity, their desire for a government to dictate what they can worship is temporary insanity. I'm also being shut down for the hard truth that there is no good side anymore. Those at the top have unified, so we need to do the same and become impossible to ignore. If you are on the left, believing you are superior while calling these victims stupid fools, then you are a victim too. It's so hard to see your mirror and that you are being used as their tool. You have the opportunity to come together and prevent more and more horror, learning from those who came before us, quietly watching neighbors join Hitler's Führer. Those in power want you feeling threatened, afraid, ready to fight, making you forget hard-earned lessons, fighting to give up our rights. I will not sit by, afraid to point out hard truths or share hard-earned tools. While we are tricked to give the government control, handing them our reproduction and our schools, I hope it is my desire to help with love and gratitude that you feel shining through. Triggers show us our false beliefs, unhealed trauma, and hard truths. This paradigm is shifting into the next, whether we realize it or not. It's up to us to prevent repeating our darkest days by applying what we've been taught. I'm asking you to join me on this mission to turn this thing around. Wherever you are in the process, there are agreements to be found. I get it, things feel impossible because they are such a huge, ginormous mess. Just know the way they want you to feel is completely and totally helpless. You have the power to fight back with every single interaction. It's up to you. Are you willing to accept this challenge, or will you run? My heart is full of so much hope because we share so very much common ground. I know this is a time of terrific potential for a change that is truly profound. Please subscribe. Please follow along. Please treat each other kindly. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for sticking to the end of that poem. See you next time. Ciao.